Sam Beckett's hands shook as he lifted the whiskey bottle to his lips. Empty. He hurled it into the snow and watched it disappear. 4 years since he'd buried Margaret and William in Missouri clay. 4 Christmases spent running from their ghosts. Then 2 small voices cut through the frozen Montana air like a blade through flesh. "Please, mister, be our daddy today." Twin girls stood at a weathered fence gate, breath-clouding hope burning in their eyes. "God sent you," one whispered. "We've been praying every morning, and here you are." His horse stopped without command. His heart stopped with it. Subscribe to our channel and stay until the very end. Drop a comment telling us which city you're watching from. We love seeing how far our stories travel. Sam Beckett threw the empty bottle into the snowbank and cursed. Christmas morning, another one, the 4th since the fever took everything that mattered. He kicked his horse forward, harder than necessary. The animal snorted, but obeyed. Montana stretched endless and white before them, beautiful and cold and empty as Sam's chest. Butte by nightfall. A room. A bottle that wasn't empty. Silence. That was the plan. Same plan as last year. Year before that. Keep moving. Don't stop. Don't think. Don't remember Margaret's laugh or William's small hand reaching for his. Don't remember. The snow fell harder. Then he saw them. 2 small figures at a fence gate. Twins maybe 7 years old wearing coats patched so many times the original fabric was just memory. They stood perfectly still, hands gripping wooden rails, watching him approach. Sam's jaw tightened. He'd ride past. That's what he did now. His heels pressed to urge the horse forward. "Please, mister." Both girls spoke together. Their voices hit him like buckshot. "Be our daddy today." Sam's horse stopped dead. He hadn't commanded it. The animal simply halted ears forward like it recognized something important. "We asked God for a Christmas daddy," one girl said. Breath clouded around her words. "Every morning we pray. Then you came riding up." Sam stared at them. Same faces. Same button noses red from cold. Same brown eyes huge with hope. Same absolute certainty that he was their answered prayer. His throat closed shut. "Just today," the quieter twin added. "That's all. Just till sunset. Then you can go. Ride on. Don't engage. Don't let those eyes dig into the hollow place where his heart used to beat." But his hands wouldn't lift the reins. The cabin door banged open. A woman ran out, shawl flying, face white with mortification, red hair escaping its pins, eyes holding equal parts strength and exhaustion. Grace Hope inside now. She reached them fast, grabbed their shoulders. Her cheeks burned red. "I'm so sorry, sir. They don't understand." "But Mama." The first twin pulled against her grip. "You said we could ask God for anything." "That's not what I meant, Grace." The second twin tugged her mother's skirt. "He stopped, Mama. He heard us, and he stopped." The woman closed her eyes, drew a breath. When she looked at Sam again, dignity had replaced shame. "Eleanor Callahan. Ellie." She straightened her spine. "I apologize for my daughters. They meant no harm." "No harm taken, ma'am." Sam's voice came out rough, rusted from disuse. Ellie studied him, took in his worn coat, weathered face, the haunted look she probably recognized from her own mirror. "Let me offer you breakfast, as apology." She hesitated. "You're frozen through. It's Christmas. I can't let you ride on empty." Sam should refuse. "Please, Mr. Cowboy." The quiet one. Hope. "Just breakfast. Mama makes real good biscuits." "Just breakfast?" Sam heard himself say. "Much obliged." He dismounted, tied his horse. Grace whispered to her sister loud enough to hear. "See, he stayed. Told you he would." The words hit like a fist. Sam almost untied the horse, almost swung up and rode hard for the horizon. But the cabin door stood open. Firelight spilled out. Warmth reached toward him like a hand. He stepped inside. Small cabin, clean. Fire crackling in the hearth. Table set for 3. Ellie added a fourth plate without comment. Everything showed careful mending. Curtains, chair cushions, quilts on the beds through the open doorway. Poor but proud, clean but patched. Sit. Ellie pointed to the head of the table. Girls wash hands. Sam removed his hat, sat where she indicated. The chair beside him felt heavy with ghosts. Margaret's gentle presence. William's eager chatter. He shoved the memories down hard. The twins returned, slid into their seats, stared at him without shame. "You got a real gun?" Grace leaned forward. "Ever shoot outlaws? Ever been in a... Grace." Ellie's voice cut sharp. "Let the man eat." "It's all right, ma'am." Sam picked up his fork. "Yeah, I got a real gun. No, I don't go looking for gunfights. Smart man avoids trouble." "What if trouble finds you?" Hope's quiet voice. Sam looked at her. Same face as her sister, but something older lived behind those eyes, something that understood too much. "Then you handle it? Quick and clean." He held her gaze. "But you don't borrow trouble. Life brings enough." Hope nodded like this made perfect sense. "You got children, Mr. Grace asked around a mouthful of biscuit. "Grace, don't talk with your mouth full." "Did." Sam set down his fork. "A boy, about your age, and a wife." Silence except for the fire. "What happened?" Hope asked, soft. "Hope." Ellie's voice sharpened. "That's not... Fever took them, both, 4 years back." Grace reached across the table, patted his weathered hand with small warm fingers. "I'm sorry your family went to heaven. Ours went too. Our daddy." She smiled small and sad. "But I bet he's keeping your boy company. Daddy was real good at making people laugh." Sam couldn't breathe for a moment. "Grace is right," Hope added. "Heaven's probably not so lonely for any of them now." Something cracked inside him. Something frozen for 4 years. "I reckon you're right," he managed. "Keeping each other company just fine." Ellie's eyes glistened. She blinked it back. "More coffee, Mr. Beckett. Sam Beckett." He held out his cup. "Please." After breakfast, Sam stood. "I'll wash up. You cooked." "That's not necessary." "It is to me." He carried plates to the basin, rolled up his sleeves. The water was cold, but the work felt good. The twins watched him. "Daddy never washed dishes," Grace whispered. "Said that was lady work." "Every person ought to know how to care for themselves." Sam scrubbed a pot without turning. "Self-reliance ain't got a gender." Ellie stopped mid-motion. Something shifted in her face. Surprise. Respect. "Unusual view for these parts." "Cavalry during the war. Learned quick that a man who can't cook or clean is a burden." Sam dried his hands. "Pride's got no place when there's work to be done." "You fought in the war." Grace bounced. "Were you a hero, did you?" "Grace." Ellie sighed. "Go play with your horses. Give Mr. Beckett some peace." The twins retreated to their corner, pulled out 2 carved wooden horses. Sam caught the craftsmanship, each mane detailed, each hoof precise. "Your husband made those." "Not a question." Ellie nodded. "Patrick was good with his hands. Talked about opening a furniture shop someday." She paused. "That day never came." "How'd he pass?" Ellie was quiet. When she spoke, her voice was steady, but Sam heard the cracks. "Mining accident. Whitmore's mine. He took the work to get us through winter." She set down her dish. "There was a collapse. Foreman ignored safety. Patrick warned him." "You don't believe it was accident?" Ellie met his eyes. "I believe my husband was careful. I believe he knew mines. I believe he wouldn't have been in that tunnel unless someone ordered him there." This Whitmore. Big man in town. Biggest ranch for 50 miles. Owns the mine. Half the businesses. Most of the town council. Her jaw tightened. "When I tried to get compensation, tried to get someone to investigate, he shut it down. Called me hysterical. A troublemaker. And the town took his side. They won't buy my eggs. Won't let the girls play with their children. She began putting dishes away, movements sharp. We've been alone since. Sam felt it stir. Something dormant 4 years. Righteous anger. That ain't justice. That's cruelty dressed up in Sunday clothes. Ellie looked at him. Surprise and gratitude tangled together. You're the first person to say that out loud. Standing up for truth ain't making trouble. It's making things right. The cabin door burst open. A man filled the doorway, late 20s, soft hands, expensive coat, smile all teeth, no warmth. Mrs. Callahan. He tipped his hat with exaggerated courtesy. Just checking you survived the storm. Ellie's face went blank. We're fine, Mr. Whitmore. The man's eyes found Sam, narrowed, calculated. Who might this be? Traveler, stopped for breakfast. Ellie's voice stayed flat. He was just leaving. Sam should agree, should grab his hat and walk out and ride away from whatever was brewing here. Instead, he stepped forward. Sam Beckett, and I ain't in any hurry. They measured each other. Whitmore saw a drifter. Nobody. Someone to dismiss. Sam saw a predator circling wounded prey. How neighborly. Whitmore's smile thinned. He turned to Ellie, voice dropping to false concern. You know how people talk. A widow. Alone. Strange man staying overnight. His eyes slid to the twins. I'd hate for anyone to question your fitness as a mother. Ellie went pale. Her hands clenched. There's nothing improper here. Mr. Beckett stayed in the barn. Of course, of course. Whitmore raised his hands. Just looking out for you. For the girls. His gaze lingered on the twins. Such pretty things. They deserve stability, a proper home, a proper father. They have a home. Ellie's voice shook. This is their home. For now. Whitmore tipped his hat. Merry Christmas, Mrs. Callahan. Think about what I said. He left. His presence lingered like dirty smoke. Ellie stood rigid, trembling. Mama! Grace's voice came small. Is he going to take us away? Ellie crossed to her daughters in 3 strides, knelt, gathered them both. No, baby. Nobody's taking you anywhere. This is our home. Papa built it, and we're staying. Sam watched them, this small family holding each other against a world trying to break them. He thought about Margaret, about William, about all the protecting he couldn't do when it mattered. He should leave. This wasn't his fight. But those little girls had stood at a fence gate in freezing cold and asked God for a father, and he'd been the one who rode up. Ma'am? His voice came out steady. I reckon I could stay for dinner. Help with chores. Seems I promised these girls till sunset. Ellie looked up. Exhaustion and suspicion and hope tangled in her eyes. You don't have to. I know I don't. Sam picked up his hat. But leaving feels wrong, and I've learned to trust that feeling. Grace's face split into a grin. You'll stay, really truly. Till sunset. That was the deal. Hope slipped her hand into his. Small, warm, trusting. I knew you'd stay, she whispered. Saw it in your eyes. Sam squeezed her hand. Well then. He cleared his throat. Point me to what needs fixing. I ain't good at sitting still. By mid-afternoon, Sam had restacked the woodpile, fixed 2 fence posts, adjusted the barn door. The twins followed everywhere, handing tools, asking questions, filling silence with chatter. Daddy fixed things too. Grace watched him hammer. Mama said his hands never stopped moving. Sounds like a good man. The best. Hope sat on an overturned bucket. He carried us on his shoulders, called us his 2 saddlebags. Sam's throat tightened. William used to sit on his shoulders too, small hands gripping his hair, laughing at how tall the world looked. Your daddy loved you. Those horses he carved show it. Man doesn't put that kind of work into something without love. Think he sees us from heaven? Grace asked. Think he knows we miss him? Sam set down the hammer, knelt to their level. The people we love don't ever really leave. They're in the things they made, the words they taught, the memories we carry. He touched Grace's cheek. Your daddy's in those horses. Every cut he made, that doesn't disappear. Hope's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. That's what Mama says too. Then your Mama's wise. Grace threw her arms around his waist, hugged him fierce. Thank you for staying, Mr. Sam. Thank you for not riding away. Sam stood frozen. This small body pressed against him, this trust he hadn't earned. Slowly his hand came up to rest on her head. You're welcome, little one. Hope watched with those knowing eyes. You're sad too, like Mama, but you hide it better. Yeah, no point lying. This child saw too clearly. I'm sad too. That's why you're supposed to be here. Hope nodded. Sad people should help each other. That's what God wants. Sam cleared his throat. Let's finish this fence. In the barn hanging tools, Sam noticed something on the workbench. A half-finished carving. A bird wings spread mid-flight. He ran his fingers over the wood. Good quality. Smooth grain. Daddy was making that for Mama's birthday, Grace said soft. He didn't finish. Sam looked at the bird for a long moment. Maybe someday someone will. Would you? Hope's quiet question. Sam set the bird down. I ain't the craftsman your daddy was. But you could try. Grace looked up at him. Daddy always said trying was what mattered. Sam touched the wooden bird one more time. Maybe, we'll see. Dinner's ready. Ellie's voice carried across the yard. Girls, wash up. Grace grabbed Sam's hand. Come on. Mama made venison stew. Christmas special. Walking toward the cabin, last light turned snow to gold. Inside, warmth waited. A meal with people who'd been strangers this morning. Sam sat at their table, ate stew that tasted like hope. Just until sunset, he told himself. Sunset came and went. Ellie offered him the barn for the night. Sam heard himself accept. Tomorrow he'd leave. Definitely tomorrow. The cabin door closed behind him as he walked to the barn. Behind the frost-covered window, two small faces watched him go. Grace waved. Hope pressed her palm flat against the glass. Sam raised his hand in return. In the barn surrounded by hay smell and horse breath, he lay on his bedroll and stared at the ceiling. 4 years running. 4 years empty. One day at a fence gate and everything felt different. Tomorrow, he told himself again. But somewhere deep in the place he'd kept frozen since Missouri, something had started to thaw. And Sam Beckett, who'd sworn never to let himself care again, found he was terrified. Not of leaving. Of wanting to stay. Sam woke before dawn. Cold had seeped through his bedroll, settled deep in his bones. His breath made clouds in the dark barn. The horse nickered soft shifted in the stall. He lay still, staring at the rafters. Leave now. Saddle up. Ride out before anyone wakes. Before those girls run out with their hope-filled eyes. Before this gets harder. His hands didn't move. Outside, a rooster crowed. First light crept through the cracks in the barn door. Sam heard the cabin door open. Small footsteps on the porch. Mr. Sam? Grace's voice high and worried. You still here? He closed his eyes. Mr. Sam. I'm here. He sat up, ran a hand through his hair. I'm here, little one. The barn door creaked open. Two faces peered in breath clouding. Mama's making breakfast. Hope stepped inside, careful, like she was approaching a wild animal that might bolt. She said we shouldn't bother you, but we wanted to make sure you didn't leave without saying goodbye. Wasn't planning to leave without saying goodbye. Grace's whole body relaxed. Good, because that would be rude. And you're not rude, Mr. Sam. You're nice. Sam pulled on his boots. I ain't that nice. Yes, you are. Hope watched him with those knowing eyes. Nice people pretend they're not nice. Mean people pretend they are. You're the first kind. Sam didn't know what to say to that. He followed them to the cabin. Ellie stood at the stove, hair pinned neater today, apron tied tight. She glanced at him when he entered, something flickering across her face. Relief, maybe. Or surprise. Mr. Beckett, I thought you might have ridden out. Thought about it. What stopped you? Sam looked at the twins now settling into their chairs, watching him with open expectation. Figured I'd at least eat breakfast first. Ellie almost smiled. Almost. Coffee's hot. They ate in comfortable silence. Eggs, biscuits, the last of the bacon. Simple food that tasted like more. After Sam stood. I noticed your roof's got some trouble spots. Saw daylight through a few places yesterday. That'll be a problem when the snow melts. Ellie's hands stilled on her plate. I know. I've been meaning to patch it, but the ladder... I'll do it. Mr. Beckett. Sam. He met her eyes. Just Sam. And I've got nothing but time and a horse that could use the rest. Might as well make myself useful. Ellie studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded once. All right, Sam. There's tools in the barn. Patrick's tools. She hesitated. Haven't touched them since. I'll be careful with them. He headed for the door. Sam. He turned. Ellie's voice came out soft. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Haven't fixed anything. That's not what I meant. Their eyes held for a moment longer than necessary. Then Sam nodded and stepped outside into the cold morning light. The twins followed him like shadows. Can we help? Grace bounced on her heels. We're real good helpers. Daddy always said so. You can hand me nails, one at a time, and hold things steady when I ask. What about me? Hope asked quiet. Sam looked at her. You can be the foreman. Watch everything I do. Tell me if I'm doing it wrong. Hope's face lit up. First real smile he'd seen from her. I'm good at watching, she said. I know you are. They worked through the morning. Sam on the ladder patching holes, replacing rotted shingles. Grace handed him nails with serious concentration. Hope watched everything, occasionally pointing out spots he'd missed. The work felt good. Honest. His hands remembered how to build, how to mend. Skills he hadn't used since the farm in Missouri. Mr. Sam. Grace looked up at him. How come you were all alone on Christmas? Sam hammered a nail into place. Don't have anyone to be with. That's sad. Suppose it is. Don't you have a mama or papa? They passed when I was young. Cholera. What about brothers or sisters? Never had any. Grace was quiet for a moment. Then, so you're all alone in the whole world. Sam stopped hammering, looked down at this small girl with her big questions. I was. Yeah. Was. He didn't answer, went back to hammering. Hope tugged her sister's sleeve. Don't be nosy, Grace. I'm not being nosy, I'm being curious. There's a difference. Mama says there isn't. Mama says lots of things. Sam listened to them bicker and felt something loosen in his chest. This is what it sounded like. A family. Noise and chatter and small arguments about nothing important. He'd forgotten. By noon the roof was patched. Sam climbed down, stretched his back, surveyed his work. Not bad, Hope said. Daddy would approve. High praise coming from the foreman. Hope almost smiled again. Ellie appeared on the porch. Lunch is ready. You girls wash up. She looked at Sam. You too. There's water in the basin. They ate together. Soup, this time thick with vegetables. Bread that Ellie apologized for, said it hadn't risen right. Sam thought it tasted fine. The roof looks good, Ellie said. I could see you working from the window. Should hold through spring. Maybe longer if the winter stays mild. It won't. Ellie's voice went flat. Winter here never stays mild. Then I'll reinforce it more this afternoon. Ellie set down her spoon. Sam, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. He met her eyes. But I'm here, and the work needs doing, and I'd rather be useful than idle. Idle makes me think too much. Something passed between them. Understanding, maybe. Recognition of shared pain. All right, Ellie said quietly. After lunch, I need to go into town. Supplies. I've put it off long enough. I'll come with you. Ellie's face tightened. That might not be wise. People will talk. Whitmore will... Let him talk. Sam's voice came out harder than he intended. You shouldn't have to face that town alone. I've been facing it alone for 2 years. Doesn't mean you should keep doing it. The twins watched this exchange like spectators at a tennis match, heads swiveling back and forth. Ellie was quiet for a long moment. Then, all right, we'll all go together. Grace cheered. Hope smiled her quiet smile. Sam wondered what he was getting himself into. The ride to town took an hour. Sam drove the wagon, Ellie beside him, the twins bundled in back beneath quilts. The road was rutted with ice, but the horse managed fine. Town's called Copper Ridge, Ellie said. Named for the mine, Whitmore's mine. He owned the whole town? Near enough. The general store, the feed supply, the saloon. He's got his hand in everything. Her jaw tightened. The only places he doesn't own are the church and Martha Jenkins's little shop. Martha's too stubborn to sell, and the church... She shrugged. Even Whitmore won't touch holy ground. This Martha. She a friend. The only one left. Ellie's voice softened. She still sells to me. Quietly. When no one's watching. She could lose everything for it, but she does it anyway. Sounds like good people. The best. They crested a hill, and the town appeared below. A main street of wooden buildings, smoke rising from chimneys, horses tied to hitching posts. Small but busy. People moved between shops bundled against the cold. Sam felt eyes on them before they even reached the first building. They're already watching, Ellie murmured. Word travels fast here. Let them watch. He pulled the wagon up in front of a small shop at the edge of town. The sign read, Jenkins Dry Goods, in faded letters. A woman appeared in the doorway. 60s, gray-haired, sharp-eyed. She looked at Sam, then at Ellie, then at the twins waving from the wagon bed. Eleanor Callahan. Her voice carried warmth. About time you came to visit. Hello, Martha. Martha's eyes swept over Sam again. Assessed. Calculated. And who's this? Sam Beckett. He's helping with repairs. Is he now? Martha's lips twitched. Well, Mr. Beckett, any friend of Ellie's is welcome here. Come in out of the cold, all of you. The shop was cramped but well stocked. Fabric tools, canned goods, everything a frontier household might need. Martha led them to the back away from the front window. Can't be too careful, she said. Whitmore's got eyes everywhere. We just need some basics. Ellie pulled out a small list. Flour, sugar, coffee, if you have it. I have it. Martha was already gathering items. And you'll take extra. No arguments. Martha, I can't pay for. Did I ask for payment? The older woman's voice sharpened. 2 years you've struggled alone while this town turned its back. Let an old woman ease her conscience. Sam watched this exchange, saw the pride warring with need on Ellie's face. She's right, ma'am, he said quietly. Sometimes accepting help is harder than giving it, but it's just as important. Ellie's eyes met his, held. All right, she said finally. Thank you, Martha. Don't thank me. Just promise you'll come more often. I worry about you and those girls out there alone. She's not alone. The words left Sam's mouth before he could stop them. Both women looked at him. I mean... He cleared his throat. She's got help, for now. Martha's eyes narrowed. Not with suspicion, with something else. Interest, maybe. Hope. Is that so? She turned to Ellie. Well, that's something, isn't it? Ellie's cheeks flushed. He's just passing through, helping with repairs. Of course he is. Martha's voice dripped with knowing. Just passing through, helping with repairs. The twins had wandered to a shelf of candy jars. Grace pressed her nose to the glass. Mama, look, peppermint sticks. We can't afford on the house. Martha was already reaching for the jar. Christmas was just yesterday. Every child deserves something sweet. She handed each twin a peppermint stick. Their faces lit up like sunrise. "What do you say, girls?" Ellie prompted. "Thank you, Miss Martha," they chorused. "You're very welcome, darlings." Martha patted their heads. "Now, Eleanor, help me gather the rest of your supplies. Mr. Beckett, there's coffee on the stove and back. Help yourself." Sam took the hint. He poured himself coffee and stood by the back window watching the alley behind the shop. He heard the front door open, heard voices, male, demanding. "Mrs. Jenkins." The voice was familiar. Young Whitmore. Clay. "Thought I saw the Callahan wagon outside." "Did you now?" Martha's voice stayed pleasant. Dangerous kind of pleasant. "Just wondering who she's got with her. Stranger from yesterday. The one claiming to be a traveler." "I don't keep track of who visits my shop, Mr. Whitmore. I'm too busy running a business." "My father's concerned." Clay's voice dropped. "About the widow's welfare. About those sweet little girls. Strangers hanging around could be anyone. Could be dangerous." "How thoughtful of your father." Martha's pleasantness didn't waver. "I'll be sure to pass along his concern." "You do that." The door closed. Sam set down his coffee cup, walked back to the front. Ellie stood rigid, face pale. The twins had pressed themselves against her legs, peppermint sticks forgotten. "He knows you're here," Martha said to Sam. "He'll have told his father by now." "Let him." "You don't understand." Ellie's voice shook. "Whitmore doesn't just talk. He acts. People who cross him. Things happen to them. Accidents. Fires. Livestock dying mysteriously." "Your husband," Sam said quietly. Ellie flinched. "The collapse. It wasn't just negligence, was it? I don't know." Her voice cracked. "I've never been able to prove anything, but Patrick was asking questions. About the mine. About safety. About where the money was going." She wiped her eyes quickly. "A week later he was dead." Sam felt his jaw tighten, his hands curl into fists, and no one investigated. "Whitmore's got the sheriff in his pocket, the mayor, half the town council." Ellie laughed bitterly. "Who was going to investigate me, a widow with 2 children and no money and no power? You had the truth. Truth doesn't matter here. Only money. Only power." Sam looked at this woman worn down by grief and injustice, still standing, still fighting. He looked at the 2 girls clutching her skirt, eyes wide with fear they were too young to carry. Something hardened in his chest. "It matters to me," he said. "Truth always matters." Martha watched him with those sharp eyes. "You're either very brave or very foolish, Mr. Beckett." "Probably both, ma'am." She began packing Ellie's supplies into a crate. "I knew a man like you once. My husband. He believed in truth too. In justice. In doing right even when it cost him." She paused. "It cost him everything in the end. But I never stopped being proud of him." Sam helped carry the crate to the wagon. As they loaded it, he saw people watching from doorways. Faces appeared in windows, then vanished. "They're all afraid," Ellie murmured. "Fear keeps people small. Fear keeps people alive. Surviving and living aren't the same thing." Ellie looked at him. Really looked. "No," she said softly. "They're not." They climbed into the wagon. Sam took the reins. As they started down the main street, a figure stepped off the boardwalk into their path. Clay Whitmore. Behind him 2 men. Ranch hands by the look of them. Big. Armed. Sam pulled the wagon to a stop. "Mr. Beckett?" Clay's smile was all teeth. "Leaving so soon, my father would love to meet you. Extend some proper hospitality." "I'll pass." That wasn't a request. Sam felt Ellie tense beside him. Heard Grace whimper in the wagon bed. Sounded like one to me. Sam kept his voice easy. "And I've got places to be." Clay's smile faded. "You don't understand how things work here, stranger. When Whitmore asks, people answer. When Whitmore wants something, he gets it." "What does he want?" Clay's eyes slid to Ellie. Lingered. "That's between him and Mrs. Callahan. But you being here complicates things." "Then I suppose things are complicated." One of the ranch hands stepped forward, hand on his gun. Sam didn't move, didn't blink. "You want to do this here?" His voice dropped low. "Main Street, broad daylight. Women and children watching. You want to explain to the whole town why you drew on an unarmed man in a wagon." Clay's jaw worked. "This isn't over," he said finally. "Didn't think it was." Clay stepped aside, jerked his head at his men. They moved back. Sam flicked the reins. The wagon rolled forward. He didn't look back. Didn't need to. He could feel the hate burning into his spine. "You shouldn't have done that." Ellie's voice was barely audible. "You've made an enemy." "Had enemies before. Survived." "Not like Whitmore. He won't forget this. Won't forgive it." "Neither will I." They rode in silence for a while. The twins huddled together in back quiet for once. Then Grace's small voice. "Mr. Sam, are bad men going to hurt us?" Sam's hands tightened on the reins. "Not while I'm here. Promise." He turned, looked at those two small faces, scared but trusting. "Promise." Hope reached out, took his hand. "Okay," she whispered. "We believe you." When they reached the homestead, the sun was setting. Golden light poured across the snow, turning everything to fire and honey. Sam helped Ellie unload the supplies. The twins ran inside to warm up by the fire. "You should go." Ellie's voice came out flat. "Tonight, before this gets worse." "Is that what you want?" She didn't answer. "Ellie, is that what you want?" She turned to face him. Her eyes were bright with unshed tears. "What I want doesn't matter. I can't let you get hurt because of me, because of us. You don't owe us anything." "This isn't about owing." "Then what is it about?" Sam looked at the cabin, at the warm light spilling from the windows, at the two small silhouettes visible inside. "I've been running for 4 years," he said slowly. "Running from pain, from memories, from anything that might make me feel again. And then 2 little girls stood at a fence gate and asked me to be their father for a day. And I stopped." He turned back to Ellie. "I don't know what this is. I don't know what it means. But I know leaving right now would be the most cowardly thing I've ever done. And I've done plenty of cowardly things." Ellie stared at him. "You'd really stay knowing what Whitmore is? What he can do?" "I'd rather stand and face trouble than spend another year running from shadows." A tear slid down her cheek. She wiped it away roughly. "You're a fool, Sam Beckett." "Probably. And I'm a fool for wanting you to stay." "Probably that too." They stood there, the cold air between them, something fragile and new taking shape. "All right," Ellie said finally. "Stay. Help me through winter. But when spring comes, we'll see." She nodded, turned toward the cabin. "Ellie," she stopped. "I'm going to find out what really happened to your husband, and I'm going to make it right." She was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "Patrick used to say that. Make it right. He was always trying to make things right." She looked over her shoulder. "Be careful, Sam. The last man who tried to make things right is buried on the hill behind the barn." She went inside. Sam stood alone in the gathering dark. He looked up at the hill she'd mentioned, saw the small wooden cross barely visible against the snow. "I'll be more careful than he was," he said to no one. "I promise you that." The cabin door opened. Grace's voice floated out. "Mr. Sam, dinner's ready. Mama says come inside before you freeze." Sam took one last look at the grave on the hill. Then he walked toward the light. 2 weeks passed. Sam fell into a rhythm. Wake before dawn. Feed the horse. Chop wood. Fix whatever needed fixing. Eat meals at Ellie's table. Listen to the twins chatter. Sleep in the barn. Repeat. It felt like something he'd lost. Something he'd forgotten he needed. But underneath the routine questions burned. Patrick Callahan. The mine collapse. Whitmore. Sam started asking around, carefully, quietly. He rode into town alone on the 3rd day of the new year, tied his horse outside the saloon, and walked in like he belonged there. Heads turned, conversations stopped. Sam ignored them, walked to the bar, ordered whiskey. The bartender poured with shaking hands. You're the one staying at the Callahan place. Word travels fast. It does when Whitmore's interested. Sam sipped his whiskey. Let the silence stretch. I'm looking for information, he said finally. About the mine collapse 2 years back. The one that killed Patrick Callahan. The bartender went pale. Bartender went. I don't know nothing about that. Didn't say you did? Asked if you knew who might. Mister, you're poking a hornet's nest. Best leave it alone. Can't do that. The bartender leaned closer. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. There was a man. Worked the mine with Callahan. Named Silas Reed. He was there that day. Saw what happened. The bartender's eyes darted to the door. Whitmore paid him to leave town right after. But I heard he's holed up in Billings now, drinking away whatever conscience he's got left. Billings. That's what 2 days' ride. About that. The bartender pulled back. You didn't hear this from me. Hear what? The bartender almost smiled. Almost. Sam finished his whiskey and left. Outside, Jonas Crowfeather waited by his horse. Sam stopped short. He hadn't seen Jonas in 3 years, not since the cavalry days. Sam Beckett. Jonas's voice was deep, unhurried. Heard you were causing trouble. Jonas. Sam gripped his old friend's arm. How'd you find me? I know everything that happens in these mountains. Jonas's dark eyes held amusement. Including when a stubborn white man decides to pick a fight with Marcus Whitmore. News travels that far. News travels everywhere, especially news that interests me. Jonas fell into step beside him as they walked down the boardwalk. The Callahan woman. Her husband was a good man. He helped my people when no one else would. Brought medicine when the sickness came through our camp. You knew him. I knew him. And I know what really happened in that mine. Sam stopped walking. Tell me. Jonas looked around. Too many eyes. Too many ears. Not here. Meet me tomorrow. The old trapper's cabin north of the Callahan place. You know the one? I'll find it. Come alone. Sunrise. Jonas turned to leave, then paused. Be careful, Sam. Whitmore's already asking questions about you. Who you are. Where you came from. He doesn't like mysteries. He's about to like me even less. Jonas almost smiled. Good. That man deserves what's coming. He disappeared into the crowd like smoke. That night, Sam sat by the fire in Ellie's cabin. The twins had gone to bed. Ellie mended clothes by lamplight. The silence between them had grown comfortable these past 2 weeks. Easy. You went into town today, Ellie said without looking up. I did. Asking questions. Yes. Her hands stilled on the fabric. Sam, please, let it go. I can't. Why? She finally looked at him. Why does this matter so much to you? Patrick was my husband. My loss. Why are you? Because it's wrong. Sam's voice came out harder than he intended. Because a man died, and no one answered for it. Because you and those girls have been punished for 2 years for wanting justice. Because... He stopped. Because what? Sam stared into the fire. The words came slow, dragged up from somewhere deep. Because I couldn't save my wife. My son. The fever took them, and I couldn't do anything. I just watched them slip away. His jaw tightened. I couldn't save them. But maybe I can help you. Maybe I can do this one thing right. Ellie set down her mending, crossed the room, sat in the chair beside him. Sam. Her voice was soft. You can't fix your grief by fixing mine. I know that. Do you? He looked at her, really looked, saw the exhaustion beneath the strength, the loneliness beneath the pride. Maybe not, he admitted. But I'm going to try anyway. Ellie was quiet for a moment. Then she reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were warm against his cold skin. Patrick would have liked you, she said. He was stubborn too. That an insult. It's the truth. Her thumb traced across his knuckles. Be careful tomorrow. Whatever you're planning, be careful. How'd you know I'm planning something? I saw Jonas Crowfeather outside the saloon. Saw you talking. She squeezed his hand. I'm not blind, Sam, and I'm not a fool. Just come back. I will. Promise me. He turned his hand over, laced his fingers through hers. I promise. They sat like that for a long time. The fire crackled. Outside snow fell soft and silent. Something had shifted between them, something neither was ready to name. Finally, Ellie pulled her hand back. You should sleep. Sunrise comes early. Yeah. Sam stood. Good night, Ellie. Good night, Sam. He was at the door when her voice stopped him. Sam? He turned. Thank you. For staying. For everything. Don't thank me yet. Haven't done anything. Yes, you have. Her eyes held his. More than you know. Sam nodded once and stepped into the cold. In the barn, lying on his bedroll, he could still feel the warmth of her hand in his. Sleep was a long time coming. The trapper's cabin was half collapsed, buried in snow, invisible unless you knew where to look. Sam found it just as the sun crested the mountains, painting everything gold and pink. Jonas was already there. A fire burned in the old stone hearth. Coffee boiled over the flames. You found it. Jonas handed him a tin cup. You gave good directions. They drank in silence for a moment. Then Jonas spoke. Patrick Callahan discovered something. A month before he died. Jonas's dark eyes were serious. The mine was producing more than Whitmore reported, much more. He was skimming profits, hiding them from his investors, from the tax collectors. Patrick found the real ledgers. Where? In Whitmore's office. Patrick had gone there to report a safety concern. A support beam that was rotting. Whitmore wasn't there, but the safe was open. Patrick wasn't a thief, but he was curious, and what he saw changed everything. Jonas nodded. He told his wife, told her they needed to report it, that men were dying in unsafe conditions so Whitmore could pocket extra money. Ellie knew. She knew. She begged him to be careful, to gather more evidence before he acted. Jonas's voice went flat. A week later the tunnel collapsed. The same tunnel Patrick had warned about. The same rotting beam. Sam's cup trembled in his hands. It wasn't an accident. No. The collapse was real. But Patrick was ordered into that tunnel specifically. The foreman sent him there alone. Said there was a problem that needed checking. The foreman. He in Whitmore's pocket. Was. He died 6 months later. Fell off a horse, they said. But the man rode better than anyone in the territory. Jonas spat into the fire. Whitmore ties up loose ends. What about this Silas Reed, the one who saw what happened? Silas was in the tunnel next to Patrick's, heard the collapse, got there before anyone else. Jonas paused. He saw things, things that proved it wasn't just bad luck. What things? The support beams hadn't rotted. They'd been cut, partially, just enough to weaken them. Silas saw the saw marks before they cleared the rubble. Sam felt his blood run cold. Someone sabotaged the tunnel. Someone made sure Patrick Callahan died that day, and Silas Reed saw the proof. But he took Whitmore's money and ran. He had a family, children. Whitmore made it clear what would happen if he talked. Jonas shook his head. I don't blame him. Fear makes men do desperate things. He's in Billings now. He is, and he drinks, heavily. Guilt does that to a man. Jonas looked at Sam. If you could get to him, get him to talk, get him to come back and testify. Why would he? After 2 years of running, because Whitmore killed his brother. Sam's head snapped up. What? Last month, Silas's brother was working a claim up north. Small operation, nothing valuable. But Whitmore wanted the land for expansion. When the brother refused to sell, Jonas drew a finger across his throat. Made to look like a robbery, but everyone knows. Silas knows. He knows, and he's angry. Angry enough to maybe stop running. Jonas leaned forward. You get to Billings, you find Silas Reed. You tell him there's a chance to make Whitmore pay. A real chance. And you bring him back here. What about Ellie and the girls? I can't leave them unprotected for 4 days. I'll watch them. Jonas's voice was firm. From a distance. Whitmore won't move against them openly. Not yet. He's too careful for that. But I'll be there if he tries. Sam thought about it. 4 days. A lot could happen in 4 days, but without Silas Reed's testimony they had nothing. Just accusations and suspicions. All right, he said. I'll leave tomorrow. Good. Jonas stood, extended his hand. Be careful, my friend. Whitmore has eyes everywhere, even on the road to Billings. I'll keep my head down. You've never been good at that. Sam almost smiled. No, I haven't. They parted at the cabin. Jonas melted into the forest. Sam rode back towards the homestead. He found Ellie in the yard hanging laundry despite the cold. Her hands were red and chapped. You should wear gloves, he said. Don't have any that aren't full of holes. She didn't look at him. What did Jonas tell you? Sam dismounted, stood beside her. The truth, or some of it. And Patrick found evidence that Whitmore was stealing from his own mine, cooking the books. A week later he was dead. Ellie's hands stilled on the clothesline. I know, she whispered. You know. He told me, the night before he died. He told me what he'd found. I begged him to wait, to be careful, to not go back to the mine until we figured out what to do. Her voice cracked. But he was so angry, so determined to do the right thing. He said men were dying because of Whitmore's greed. He said he couldn't stay silent. That's not your fault, isn't it? She finally looked at him. Her eyes were red. I could have tried harder, could have convinced him to run, take the girls and just disappear. You couldn't have known. I knew what kind of man Whitmore was. Everyone knows. But Patrick... She laughed bitterly. Patrick believed in justice, in truth, in doing right. Sounds like a good man. The best man I ever knew. Tears spilled down her cheeks. And it got him killed. Sam stepped closer, took the frozen sheet from her hands, set it aside. Ellie, look at me. She did. Your husband did what was right. He stood up against evil. That's not weakness. That's not foolishness. That's courage. And yes, it cost him. But you don't honor his memory by blaming yourself. You honor it by finishing what he started. How I'm one woman, with 2 children, no money, no power. How am I supposed to fight Marcus Whitmore? You're not alone anymore. She stared at him. I'm going to Billings, Sam said. There's a man there, Silas Reed. He was in the mine that day. He saw proof that the collapse wasn't an accident. If I can bring him back, if I can get him to testify. He won't. Ellie shook her head. He ran. He took Whitmore's money and ran. Why would he come back now? Because Whitmore killed his brother. Ellie went still. Last month. Made it look like a robbery. But Silas knows the truth. And he's angry. Angry enough to risk his life. Angry enough to maybe want justice more than safety. Sam took her hands. They were ice cold. This is our chance, Ellie. Our only chance. If we can prove what Whitmore did, he'll destroy us. He'll burn this place to the ground. He's going to do that anyway. Sam's voice hardened. You know that. You've known it for 2 years. He wants this land. He wants you gone. One way or another, he's going to make that happen. Unless we stop him first. Ellie's hands trembled in his. 4 days, she said. You'll be gone 4 days. At least, maybe 5. The girls will ask where you went. Tell them the truth. I'm trying to help. And if you don't come back, Sam squeezed her hands. Then you take those girls and you run. Jonas knows people. He can get you somewhere safe. Colorado, Oregon, somewhere Whitmore can't reach. I won't run. Ellie, I won't. Her voice turned to steel. I've run enough. Hidden enough. I won't do it anymore. She pulled her hands free, squared her shoulders. You go to Billings. You find Silas Reed, you bring him back. And I'll be here when you return. Right here. In my home. Patrick's home. Our home. Sam looked at this woman. Fire and ice. Grief and strength. All right, he said. I'll leave at first light. You'll say goodbye to the girls. I'll say goodbye. That night, dinner was quiet. The twins sensed something. They kept looking between Sam and their mother, reading the tension in the air. After the meal, Sam sat by the fire with them. I have to go away for a few days, he said. Grace's face crumbled. You're leaving. Not forever, just a few days. I have to help someone. Who? A man who knows something important. Something that could help your mama. Hope studied him with those old soul eyes. You're trying to find out what happened to Papa, she said quietly. Sam didn't deny it. Is that okay with you? Hope was silent for a moment. Then she nodded. Papa would want the truth. He always said lies were like weeds. They spread if you don't pull them out. Your papa was a smart man. You'll come back. Grace's voice was small. Sam knelt in front of them, took each of their hands. I promise. I will come back. And when I do, things are going to change around here. Good changes. How do you know? Because I'm going to make sure of it. Grace threw her arms around his neck, held on tight. Don't be gone long, Mr. Sam. We'll miss you. I'll miss you too, little one. Hope didn't hug him. Instead, she reached into her pocket and pulled out something small, pressed it into his hand. A wooden button, carved with tiny stars. Papa made that, she said. For good luck. It always brought him home safe. Sam's throat tightened. Hope I can't take this. It's yours. I'm lending it. Her eyes held his. You have to bring it back. That means you have to come back too. Sam closed his fingers around the button. I'll guard it with my life. That night, the barn felt emptier than usual. Sam packed his saddlebags, checked his gun, tried to sleep. Couldn't. Near midnight, the barn door creaked. Ellie stood in the doorway, lantern in hand shawl wrapped tight around her shoulders. I couldn't sleep either, she said. Sam sat up. Everything all right? No. She stepped inside, closed the door behind her. Nothing's been all right for 2 years, but tonight I'm scared, Sam. Really scared. Of what? Of losing you too. She said it plain. No hiding, no pretense. Sam stood, walked toward her. Ellie, don't. She held up a hand. Don't tell me you'll be fine. Don't make promises you might not keep. Just... Her voice broke. Just let me say this. He waited. When Patrick died, I thought I'd never feel anything again. I thought my heart was as dead as he was. For 2 years, I've just been surviving, going through the motions, keeping the girls fed, keeping this place standing, but not really living. She stepped closer. The lantern light flickered across her face. Then you showed up. This stranger at my fence gate, and everything changed. The girls started laughing again. I started hoping again. For the first time in 2 years, I woke up and didn't wish I could just stay asleep forever. Ellie, I don't know what this is between us. I don't know what to call it. But I know I'm not ready to lose it. Not yet. Not when I just found it. Sam reached out, cupped her face in his hands. Her skin was cold from the night air, but her eyes burned. You're not going to lose me, he said. You can't promise that. No, but I can promise I'll fight like hell to come back. To you. To those girls. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I've been dead for 4 years, Ellie. Walking around breathing, but dead inside. And then your daughters asked a stranger to be their daddy for a day, and something woke up. Something I thought I'd buried in Missouri. A tear slid down her cheek, caught on his thumb. When I come back, Sam said quietly. And I will come back. We should talk. About what happens next. About what this is. And if you don't come back, then Jonas will take care of you. He promised. That's not what I mean. I know what you mean. He leaned forward, pressed his forehead to hers. I'll come back, Ellie. I swear on everything I've lost and everything I've found. I'll come back. They stood like that for a long moment, breath mingling, hearts beating in tandem. Then Ellie pulled back. Sunrise comes early, she whispered. It does. Get some sleep. I'll try. She turned toward the door, stopped. Sam. Yeah. When you get back, we'll talk. About everything. Everything. She left. The lantern light faded. Darkness filled the barn again. Sam lay down on his bedroll, pressed Hope's wooden button against his chest. For the first time in 4 years, he had something to come back to. Now he just had to survive long enough to do it. Sam rode hard toward the Billings. 2 days of frozen trails, empty wilderness, and the kind of cold that seeped into bones and stayed there. He slept, Rough ate less, pushed his horse as hard as he dared. Hope's wooden button stayed in his pocket. He touched it every few hours, a reminder of what waited back home. Home. Strange word. He hadn't used it in 4 years. Billings appeared on the afternoon of the second day. A mining town bigger than Copper Ridge, rougher around the edges. Mud streets. Wooden buildings. Men with hard faces and suspicious eyes. Sam tied his horse outside the largest saloon and walked in. The place was half empty. A few miners drinking away their wages. A card game in the corner. A bartender who looked like he'd seen everything twice. Sam approached the bar. Looking for a man named Silas Reed. The bartender's eyes flickered. Don't know him. Yeah, you do. Sam laid a coin on the bar. Where? The bartender pocketed the coin, jerked his head toward the back. Last room upstairs, but I'd knock loud. He don't take kindly to surprises. Sam climbed the stairs, found the door, knocked. Go away. The voice inside was slurred, broken. Silas Reed. Silence. My name's Sam Beckett. I'm here about Patrick Callahan. The silence stretched, then footsteps. The door cracked open. The man who peered out was a wreck, maybe 40, but looked 60. Bloodshot eyes, hands that trembled, a face carved by guilt and whiskey. Callahan's dead, Silas said. Been dead 2 years. I know. I'm trying to find out why. Silas laughed. It was an ugly sound. You know why. Everyone knows why. Whitmore wanted him gone, so he's gone. That's how it works. I need you to tell me what you saw. No. Silas. I said no. The man started to close the door. Sam put his boot in the gap. Your brother's dead. Silas froze. Last month. A claim up north, made to look like robbery. But you know better, don't you? The broken man's face twisted. Pain. Rage. Something that might have been grief if he'd had enough left to feel it. Get out. Whitmore killed him, same as he killed Patrick, same as he'll keep killing until someone stops him. I can't stop him. Nobody can. You can testify. You can tell the truth about what you saw in that mine. Silas's laugh was bitter. Testify to who the sheriff he owns, the judge he bought. There's no justice in Montana, mister. Not for men like us. There could be. Sam pressed harder. There's a territorial marshal coming through next month. Federal. Outside Whitmore's reach. If we can get your testimony to him, they'll kill me before I open my mouth. They might kill you anyway. Your brother found that out. Silas flinched like he'd been struck. Sam softened his voice. I know you're scared. You've got every right to be. But running hasn't kept you safe. It's just kept you alone. Drinking yourself to death in a room that smells like regret. He paused. Is that how you want to die? Drunk and forgotten? Or do you want to die standing up, telling the truth, making it mean something? Silas stared at him. Patrick Callahan had a wife. Sam continued. 2 little girls, twins, 7 years old. They lost their daddy, and they've been punished ever since. Shunned. Threatened. living in fear. Is that fair? Life ain't fair. No. But it could be fairer. You could make it fairer. Sam's voice dropped. You can't bring your brother back. Can't undo what's done. But you can make sure his death means something. That Patrick's death means something. That Whitmore finally answers for the blood on his hands. Silas's eyes were wet. He blinked rapidly. They'll come after me. They're already coming. You can die running or die fighting. Your choice. The broken man was silent for a long moment. Then he opened the door wider. Come in. I need a drink before I do anything stupid. They talked through the night. Silas told his story slowly at first, then faster as the words built momentum. He'd been in the adjacent tunnel that day, heard the rumble, the screams, got there before anyone else, saw Patrick pinned under the rubble, still alive, still breathing. He grabbed my arm, Silas said, voice hollow. Told me to look at the beams, the support beams. They'd been cut, sawed halfway through. He could see the marks even in the dark. He knew. He knew he'd been murdered, and he knew he was dying. Silas's hands shook around his whiskey glass. Last thing he said was his wife's name, Eleanor. Then he was gone. Why didn't you tell someone? I tried. Silas's voice cracked. Told the foreman. Thought he'd want to know. He looked at me like I was already dead. Said if I repeated that to anyone, my family would pay the price. My wife. My kids. So you ran. Whitmore gave me money. Told me to disappear. Said my family would be safe as long as I stayed gone and kept quiet. He laughed bitterly. I believed him. Fool that I was, I believed him. Your brother wasn't part of the deal. No, he wasn't. Silas set down his glass. His eyes hardened. Jacob never hurt anyone. Worked his claim. Minded his business. But Whitmore wanted his land, and Jacob wouldn't sell. So Whitmore took it. Took it and killed my brother in the process. Silas stood, walked to the window. I've been drinking myself to death for 2 years trying to forget what I saw, trying to forgive myself for running. But I can't. The guilt never goes away. It just gets heavier. Then put it down. Sam stood too. Come back with me. Tell the truth. Let Patrick's family have justice. Let yourself have peace. Silas turned. For the first time, something other than despair showed in his eyes. You really think we can beat him? I think we have to try. I think if we don't, men like Whitmore win forever. And I'm tired of that world. Silas was quiet. Then he nodded slowly. All right, I'll come. But if this goes wrong, it might. If it does, I want to die on my feet, not in some saloon room, not alone. Fair enough. They left at dawn. The ride back was faster. Silas, sober for the first time in months, proved to be a capable horseman. They pushed hard, stopping only when the horses demanded rest. On the morning of the 4th day, they crested the ridge above the Callahan homestead. Sam's blood went cold. Smoke rose from where the barn should be. He kicked his horse into a gallop. Silas followed. The barn was gone. Just charred timbers and smoldering ash. The smell of burned wood and hay filled the air. Sam leaped from his horse before it stopped moving. Ellie Grace Hope. The cabin door burst open. Ellie ran out, hair wild, face streaked with soot and tears. Behind her, the twins clutched each other. Sam caught her as she threw herself into his arms. Thank God, she sobbed. Thank God you're back. What happened? Are you hurt? The girls? We're fine. We're fine. She pulled back. Her eyes were red but fierce. They came last night. 3 men. Torches. Set the barn on fire while we slept. Who? Whitmore's men. I saw Clay leading them. Her voice hardened. I grabbed the rifle, fired over their heads. They scattered. But the barn... She gestured helplessly at the smoking ruins. Everything's gone. The hay, the feed, all of Patrick's tools. Sam's jaw clenched so tight it hurt. Anyone hurt? No. Jonas appeared from somewhere. Ran them off before they could do more. She looked past him. Who's that? Silas had dismounted, stood awkward and uncertain like a man who'd forgotten how to be around people. Silas Reed. He was in the mine with Patrick. He's here to tell the truth. Ellie's breath caught. You found him. I found him. She crossed to Silas, stood before him. He couldn't meet her eyes. You were there, she said. When Patrick died. Yes, ma'am. His voice was barely audible. I was there. Tell me. Silas finally looked up. Tears streamed down his weathered cheeks. He didn't suffer long, and his last word was your name, Eleanor. He was thinking of you at the end. Ellie's composure cracked. She pressed a hand to her mouth, turned away. Sam put a hand on Silas's shoulder. Get some water, rest. We'll figure out our next move. Inside the cabin, the twins were silent. They'd seen too much. Grace's usual chatter was gone. Hope stared at nothing, clutching her wooden horse. Sam knelt before them. Hey, look at me. Two pairs of brown eyes wide with fear. I'm back. I promised I'd come back and I did. And I'm going to make this right. All of it. Nobody's going to hurt you or your mama again. The bad men burned Papa's barn, Grace whispered. All his things. His workshop. Everything. Things can be rebuilt. People can't. Sam took their hands. You're safe. That's what matters. Hope reached into her pocket, pulled out nothing. Her face crumpled. My button. Papa's button. I gave it to you. Sam reached into his own pocket, pulled out the wooden button with the tiny carved stars. Still have it. Brought it back safe, just like I promised. Hope grabbed it, pressed it to her heart. I thought you were gone. Like Papa. I thought you were never coming back. I will always come back. Sam's voice was fierce. Always. Do you hear me? Both girls nodded. Good. He stood. Now. Where's Jonas? Here. Sam turned. Jonas stood in the doorway, silent as shadow. Whitmore's making his move, Jonas said. The fire was just the beginning. Word in town is he's planning something bigger. What? He's calling a meeting tomorrow. Town council. Says he's concerned about the widow's welfare. About the safety of her children. Jonas's voice dripped contempt. He's going to try to take the girls. Ellie went white. He can't do that. He's got the sheriff, the judge, half the town council. Jonas shook his head. He'll claim you're unfit. Cite the fire, the stranger living here. He'll twist everything. Then we stop him. Sam's voice was calm, deadly calm. We go to that meeting. We bring Silas. We tell the truth in front of everyone. They won't listen. Some will. Sam looked at Ellie, Martha Jenkins, the Reverend, the people who've been too scared to speak. If we give them a spark, maybe they'll find their courage. And if they don't, then we fight anyway. We fight until we can't fight anymore. Sam's hands curled into fists. I didn't come this far to lose now. I didn't watch that barn burn and those girls cry to walk away. Whitmore wants a war. He's got one. Jonas studied him for a long moment. Then he smiled. The first smile Sam had seen from him. You've changed, old friend. The Sam I knew would have run. The Sam you knew didn't have anything to fight for. He looked at Ellie, at the twins. Now I do. That night they planned. Silas would testify publicly at the town meeting. Everything he saw, everything he knew. They'd call on Martha to support them, on anyone else willing to speak. It's not enough, Ellie said quietly. They sat by the fire, the girls asleep. Silas passed out in the corner. Testimony isn't proof. Whitmore will deny everything. Then we need the proof. The ledgers Patrick found, the real records. If they still exist, they'll be in Whitmore's safe. You know where it is. Patrick described it. In the study, behind a painting. Ellie's jaw tightened. But getting to it, leave that to me. Sam. I've broken into harder places. He gave her a grim smile. Cavalry had some interesting missions during the war. Not all of them were on a battlefield. If you're caught, then make sure my death means something. He took her hand. but I don't plan on getting caught." They sat in silence, watching the fire burn down. "I was so scared," Ellie whispered. "When they came, when the barn caught fire. All I could think was, you weren't here. You weren't here, and I might never see you again. I'm here now." "For how long?" Sam turned to face her. "For as long as you'll have me." Ellie's eyes searched his. "You said we'd talk, when you got back, about what this is." "I did. So talk." Sam took a breath. "I loved my wife. Loved her more than I knew how to say. When she died, I thought that part of me died too. The part that could feel, that could hope, that could want a future." He paused. "I was wrong." Ellie waited. "What I feel for you isn't less than what I felt for Margaret. It's different. She was my youth, my first love, the mother of my son." His voice roughened. "You're my second chance. My hope that maybe I'm not just marking time until I die, that maybe I can build something again." A tear slid down Ellie's cheek. "I don't want to replace Patrick," Sam continued. "Can't replace him. He was those girls' father, your husband, a good man who deserved better than what he got. But I can honor his memory by protecting what he loved, by fighting for what he died for." "And me," Ellie's voice was barely audible. "What am I to you?" Sam lifted her hand, pressed his lips to her knuckles. "Everything. You're everything, Ellie. You and those girls. I didn't know I was looking for you. Didn't know I needed to find you. But I did. And I'm not letting go." Ellie leaned forward, pressed her forehead to his. "Don't die tomorrow." "Wasn't planning on it." "Don't get caught either." "Also not in the plan." She laughed softly. It was a broken sound, but real. "We're going to fight Marcus Whitmore, the most powerful man in Montana, with a drunk witness, a rifle-toting widow, and a drifter who talks too much." "Sounds about right." "We're probably going to lose." "Probably." She pulled back, looked at him with those fierce, beautiful eyes. "Let's do it anyway." Sam smiled, the first real smile in 4 years. "Yes, ma'am." Before dawn, Sam slipped out of the cabin. The Whitmore Ranch was 3 miles east. Big spread, armed guards. But Sam knew how to move quiet, knew how to become shadow. He reached the main house as the sky began to lighten, found the study window, picked the lock. Inside, everything was dark, expensive. The kind of wealth built on other men's suffering. The painting was where Ellie said. Behind it, the safe. Sam worked quickly, old skills coming back. The cavalry had taught him things that weren't in any official manual. The safe clicked open. Inside, money deeds papers, and a leather-bound ledger. Sam flipped through. Numbers. Dates. 2 columns. One labeled official. One labeled actual. The actual column showed nearly double the official amounts. Years of theft, documented in Whitmore's own hand. Sam tucked the ledger inside his coat. Footsteps outside the door. He was out the window and into the darkness before they entered. The ride back was the longest of his life. Every shadow seemed to move. Every sound seemed like pursuit. But no one followed. He reached the homestead as the sun rose. Found Ellie on the porch, rifle in hand, face pale with worry. "You made it." He pulled out the ledger. "We've got him." Ellie took the book with trembling hands, flipped through the pages. "This is... Patrick found this. This is what got him killed." Years of theft, documented, dated, in his own handwriting. Sam's voice hardened. "He can't deny this, can't explain it away." Ellie looked up, hope blazing in her eyes. "We can beat him. We can beat him." She threw her arms around his neck. "You wonderful, impossible, stubborn man. Takes one to know one." The twins appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleep from their eyes. "Is something happening?" Grace asked. Sam looked at Ellie. She nodded. "Yeah, little one." He smiled at them. "Something's happening. Today we're going to get justice for your papa." Hope's eyes widened. "Really, truly." Really, truly. Grace grabbed her sister's hand. I told you, Hope. I told you he was sent by God. Hope looked at Sam. Those old soul eyes, so much like her mother's. No, she said quietly. He was sent by Papa. Papa sent him to protect us. Sam's throat tightened. Maybe both, he managed. Maybe both. The town meeting was set for noon. Sam helped Ellie into the wagon. The twins sat in back, scrubbed clean hair braided tight. Their faces were solemn. They understood something important was happening, even if they didn't know all the words for it. Silas rode alongside, sober and terrified. His hands shook on the reins. You can do this, Sam told him. I'm not sure I can. You already did the hard part. You decided to come. The rest is just talking. Jonas appeared from the tree line, fell in beside them. Whitmore knows you're coming, he said. Got men posted at every entrance to town. Let him. Sam's jaw was set. We're not sneaking. We're walking in the front door. They rode into Copper Ridge at 11:30. The streets were packed. Word had spread. Farmers, miners, shopkeepers, everyone had gathered. They watched the wagon pass in silence. Some faces showed curiosity. Some showed fear. A few showed something that might have been hope. Sam pulled up in front of the church. The meeting was inside neutral ground. Clay Whitmore stood on the steps, arms crossed. Behind him, 4 ranch hands, all armed. Mrs. Callahan. Clay's smile was poison dipped in honey. So glad you could make it. And you brought your friend. We're here for the meeting, Sam said. Same as everyone else. Meetings for townspeople, not drifters. Then it's good I'm not speaking. Sam helped Ellie down from the wagon. She is. Clay's eyes narrowed. Then they found Silas. The color drained from his face. You. His voice cracked. You're supposed to be... Supposed to be what? Sam stepped forward. Dead disappeared. Drinking himself to oblivion in some saloon while your father gets away with murder. The crowd stirred. Whispers rippled through the assembly. Clay's composure crumbled for just a moment. Then, the mask slipped back into place. I don't know what you're talking about. You will. Sam took Ellie's arm. They walked up the steps past Clay, past his armed men. Silas followed. The twins held their mother's hands. The church was full. Every pew packed, people standing along the walls. Marcus Whitmore sat in the front row, silver hair, gleaming face, carved from granite. The sheriff stood beside him. The mayor, the judge, his men, his puppets, his kingdom. Reverend Thomas Hartley stood at the pulpit looking uncomfortable. This meeting will come to order, he said weakly. We're here to discuss concerns about the Callahan homestead. Whitmore stood. His voice filled the room like thunder. We're here because a widow is endangering her children, living in squalor, harboring strangers. Her barn burned down just 2 nights ago. He shook his head with practiced sorrow. Those poor little girls deserve better. They deserve a stable home, proper care. They have a home. Ellie's voice rang out clear and strong. They have proper care. What they don't have is justice for their father's murder. The church went silent. Whitmore's face hardened. Mrs. Callahan, your husband died in a tragic accident. We've been over this. It wasn't an accident. Sam stepped forward. And we can prove it. Who are you to speak here? You're nobody. A drifter. A vagrant. I'm the man who found the truth. Sam reached inside his coat. And I'm the man who's going to share it. He pulled out the ledger, held it up for everyone to see. This is Marcus Whitmore's personal record of every dollar he's stolen from his own mine, every payment he's hidden from investors, every tax he's dodged. Sam's voice carried to every corner. 2 columns, official and actual, years of theft documented in his own handwriting. The crowd erupted. Whitmore's face went white, then red with fury. That's stolen property. That man broke into my home. Is that an admission? It's yours? Sam raised an eyebrow. Because you just confirmed everything I said. This is outrageous. Whitmore turned to the sheriff. Arrest him. Arrest all of them. The sheriff hesitated, looked at the crowd. saw the anger building, the doubt spreading. "Marcus, maybe we should—" "I said arrest them. Let him speak." The new voice came from the back. Martha Jenkins pushed through the crowd, her gray hair wild, her eyes blazing. "Let the man speak. Let them all speak. We've been silent too long in this town. We've looked away too long." She pointed at Whitmore. "That man has bullied and cheated and stolen from all of us. And we let him because we were scared. Well, I'm done being scared." "Martha, you don't know what you're saying." "I know exactly what I'm saying." She crossed her arms. "I want to hear what they have to say. All of it." Others murmured agreement. The tide was turning. Reverend Hartley cleared his throat. Perhaps we should hear the evidence. In the interest of fairness." Whitmore's jaw worked. He was losing control, and he knew it. "Fine." He spat the word. "Let them tell their lies. The truth will come out." "Yes," Sam said. "It will." He turned to Silas. "Tell them what you saw." Silas stepped forward. His legs shook. His voice trembled. But he spoke. "My name is Silas Reed. 2 years ago I worked in Whitmore's mine. I was there the day Patrick Callahan died." The church went absolutely still. "It wasn't an accident." Silas's voice grew stronger. "The support beams in that tunnel were cut, sawed halfway through. I saw the marks myself. Patrick saw them too before he died. He knew he'd been murdered." "Lies," Clay shouted. "This man's a drunk, a criminal. He's telling the truth." Another voice. An old miner stood up, hat clutched in his hands. "I saw those marks too. Before they cleared the rubble. Before Whitmore's men told us not to talk about it." "Me too." Another man stood. "I was on the crew that cleaned up. Those beams didn't rot. They were cut clean." More voices, more witnesses, years of silence breaking like a dam. Whitmore's face twisted with rage. "This is a conspiracy. They're lying, all of them." "Then explain this." Sam held up the ledger again. "Explain why your actual mining output is nearly double what you've reported. Explain where all that money went. Explain why Patrick Callahan died 1 week after discovering your theft." That's not..." Whitmore's composure cracked. For the first time he looked afraid. "You don't understand. I built this town. I created jobs. Everything you have is because of me." "Everything we have..." Martha's voice dripped with contempt. "We have fear. We have silence. We have neighbors who died in unsafe mines while you got rich." She stepped toward him. "You didn't build this town. You poisoned it. I won't stand here and be insulted by..." "Then sit down." Sam's voice was quiet, but carried like a gunshot. "Sit down and listen to what these people have to say. Or don't. Either way, the truth is coming out today." Whitmore looked around the church, saw the faces turning against him, saw his power crumbling in real time. His hand moved toward his coat. "Don't." Jonas appeared at Sam's shoulder, his own hand resting on his knife. "You pull that gun, you won't live to fire it." Whitmore's hand stopped. "This isn't over," he hissed. "Yes, it is." Ellie stepped forward. Her voice was steady, her eyes dry. "Patrick died trying to expose you. He died because he believed in truth, in justice, in doing right." She looked around the church. "I've spent 2 years being punished for wanting the same things. My daughters have grown up in shame and silence, but not anymore." She turned back to Whitmore. "You took my husband. You burned my barn. You tried to take my children." Her voice didn't waver. "But you failed. You failed because good people finally found their courage. Because the truth is stronger than your lies." Grace's small voice rang out from beside her mother. "You're a bad man. Papa told us about bad men. He said they always lose in the end." Hope added quietly, "He was right." The church erupted in chaos. People shouting, accusations flying, years of suppressed anger finally boiling over. Some defended Whitmore, but they were few and getting fewer by the minute. The mayor stood face pale. "Given these allegations," Serious allegations. I think we need to postpone any decision about the Callahan children and open a formal investigation into everything. Investigation! Whitmore's voice rose to a scream. I own this town. I own all of you. Not anymore. The sheriff stepped forward, removed Whitmore's gun from his holster. Marcus Whitmore, you're under arrest. Pending investigation into fraud, theft, and... He hesitated. Murder. You can't do this. I'll destroy you. I'll destroy all of you. Take him. The sheriff nodded to his deputies. His son, too. Clay lunged for Sam. He didn't make it 2 steps. Sam's fist connected with his jaw. Clay went down hard, sprawled across the church floor. That's for the barn, Sam said. And for 2 years of making a good woman's life hell. The deputies dragged both Whitmores away. The church slowly emptied. People filed out talking in hushed voices. Some stopped to shake Sam's hand. Others hugged Ellie. Martha Jenkins gathered the twins into her arms and promised them all the peppermint sticks they could eat. Finally, only Sam, Ellie, and the girls remained. Reverend Hartley approached hat in hand. Mrs. Callahan, I owe you an apology. This church, this town, we failed you. We failed your husband. We were cowards. Ellie studied him for a long moment. Yes, you were. Her voice held no anger, just truth. But today you did better. That counts for something. I hope we can rebuild the trust we lost. We'll see. Ellie took Sam's arm. Right now, I want to take my family home. They walked out of the church into bright winter sunlight. The town square was full of people. They parted as Ellie and Sam approached. Some nodded. Some murmured apologies. Some just watched. At the wagon, Grace tugged Sam's sleeve. Mr. Sam, are we safe now? Is the bad man going away forever? Sam knelt down to her level. The bad man's going away for a long time. And even if he comes back, he won't have any power. Not anymore. Because you stopped him. Because a lot of people stopped him. Together. Hope slipped her hand into his. You're staying, aren't you? Her quiet voice held certainty. You're not going to ride away. Sam looked at Ellie. She watched him with those fierce, beautiful eyes. No, he said. I'm not going anywhere. Grace cheered. Hope smiled her quiet smile. Ellie just nodded like she'd known all along. They rode home in the afternoon light. The burned barn was still a ruin. The homestead still showed signs of poverty and struggle. Nothing had magically transformed. But everything had changed. That night after dinner, the twins sat by the fire with their wooden horses. Sam helped Ellie with the dishes. What happens now? She asked quietly. We rebuild the barn. Get through winter. Plant in spring. He dried a plate. Start over. Together. If you'll have me. Ellie set down her dish. Turned to face him. Sam Beckett. Are you asking to stay? I'm asking to stay. To help. To be whatever you need me to be. And if what I need is a partner, someone to share this life with, this home, these girls. Sam's heart hammered. Then I'd be honored. If you'd have a broken-down cavalry officer with too many ghosts and not enough sense. Ellie smiled, the first real smile he'd seen from her. I'd have him, ghosts and all. She leaned forward and kissed him. It was soft, brief, a promise more than a passion. When she pulled back, her eyes were bright. The girls are watching, she whispered. Sam turned. 2 small faces peered at them from the fireside, eyes wide, mouths open. Are you going to marry Mama? Grace demanded. Grace. Ellie's cheeks flushed. Well, are you? Because if you are, I want to wear a pretty dress. And Hope wants to carry flowers. We already talked about it. Sam looked at Ellie. She looked at him. Maybe, he said carefully. Someday, if your mama agrees. She agrees. Grace rolled her eyes. She smiles when she looks at you. She never smiled before you came. Grace, that's not... It's true, Mama. Hope's quiet voice. You were sad before, now you're not. Because of Mr. Sam. Ellie's protest died in her throat. Her eyes glistened. Sam crossed to the girls, knelt before them. I can't replace your papa. I won't try. He was your father, and he loved you, and that will never change. He took their hands. But I'd like to be part of your family. If you'd let me. I'd like to stay. To help your mama. To watch you grow up. To be here, for all of it. Grace threw her arms around his neck. You can be our second daddy. Papa won't mind. He'd like you. I know he would. Hope nodded solemnly. Papa sent you to us. He'd want you to stay. Sam held them both, these two small miracles, who'd stopped a stranger on a frozen Christmas morning and changed his life forever. Then I'll stay, he said. I'll stay forever. Spring came slow to Montana. The snow melted. The ground thawed. Green shoots pushed through brown earth. Sam and Jonas rebuilt the barn. Bigger this time. Stronger. The whole town helped. People who'd ignored Ellie for 2 years now showed up with tools and lumber and apologies. Martha Jenkins organized the women to bring food. Reverend Hartley blessed the new structure. Even the sheriff came hat in hand, asking how he could help. Marcus Whitmore was in territorial prison awaiting trial. The ledger and testimony had been enough. Federal marshals had taken over the case. Justice would be slow, but it would come. Clay had fled. Some said Mexico. Others said he'd met with an accident on the road south. Nobody seemed too concerned about finding out which. On a warm April morning, Sam stood on the porch of the cabin watching the sun rise over the mountains. Ellie came to stand beside him. She wore a simple dress, her red hair loose around her shoulders. Beautiful morning, she said. It is. Are you ready? I've been ready since Christmas. She smiled, took his hand. Inside, the twins were already dressed. Grace in a white dress she'd picked out herself. Hope carrying wildflowers she'd gathered at dawn. You look beautiful, Sam told them. You look nervous, Grace replied. I am nervous. Don't be. Mama already said yes. The hard part's over. Sam laughed. The first easy laugh he'd had in years. They walked to the church together. The whole town had gathered. Faces that had once turned away now smiled in welcome. Jonas stood at the back, arms crossed, nodding approval. Martha Jenkins dabbed her eyes with a handkerchief. Silas Reed, sober for 3 months now, sat with the congregation finally at peace. Reverend Hartley waited at the altar. Sam walked Ellie down the aisle. The twins followed, scattering flower petals. The ceremony was simple. Traditional words spoken with new meaning. When the Reverend asked if anyone objected, Grace shouted, "Nobody better!" The church laughed. When Sam kissed his bride, the twins cheered. Outside, under the bright spring sun, people threw rice and offered congratulations. Grace tugged Sam's sleeve. Does this mean I can call you Papa now? Sam knelt down, looked into those bright eyes. You can call me whatever feels right. Papa, she said firmly. Feels right. Hope nodded. Papa? Sam's eyes stung. He blinked it back. Then Papa it is. That night in the cabin that was now their home, Sam sat by the fire, Ellie beside him, the twins asleep in their bed. I never thought I'd have this again, Sam said quietly. A home. A family. A reason to wake up in the morning. Neither did I. Ellie leaned against his shoulder. After Patrick died, I thought that was it. The end of hope. The end of everything. And now, she smiled. Now I have 2 daughters who are finally happy, a barn full of hay, neighbors who look me in the eye, and a husband who rode into my life on Christmas morning like an answer to a prayer. The girls prayed for a father. They did. Reckon I prayed too. Just didn't know it. Ellie lifted her head, kissed his cheek. What did you pray for? Sam thought about it. About 4 years of running. About grief and guilt and emptiness. About a frozen morning and a fence gate and 2 small voices asking the impossible. A reason to stop running, he said finally. A place to belong. Something worth fighting for. And did you find it? Sam looked around the cabin, at the fire crackling warm, at the bedroom where two children slept peacefully, at the woman beside him, strong and beautiful, and his. "Yeah," he said, "I found it." They sat in silence as the fire burned low. Outside, the Montana night stretched vast and star-filled. The mountains stood eternal. The wind whispered through new leaves on old trees. And in a small cabin on a homestead that had seen grief and struggle, and finally justice, a family slept safe and whole. Sam Beckett had spent 4 years running from the past. On a frozen Christmas morning, two little girls taught him how to run toward the future instead. They'd stood at a fence gate in the snow. They'd asked a stranger for the impossible. And somehow, impossibly, he'd said yes. That yes had changed everything. Some men search their whole lives for home. They ride through endless towns and empty miles looking for something they lost. Some find it waiting at a fence line wrapped in two small voices saying please. Sam had found it. He wasn't letting go. The fire died to embers. The night deepened. Ellie's breathing slowed into sleep against his shoulder. Sam closed his eyes. For the first time in 4 years, he didn't dream of graves or fever or loss. He dreamed of spring planting, of birthday parties, of Christmas mornings yet to come, of Grace's laughter and Hope's quiet wisdom, of Ellie's smile and the life they'd build together. He dreamed of home. And when he woke, it was still there. Real, solid, his. A family forged not from blood, but from choice, from courage. From two little girls who believed in miracles, and a broken man who learned to believe again. Sam Beckett had buried his past in Missouri clay. In Montana, he'd planted his future. And it was growing.